Kamala, the Ugandan giant, shoots on working for Eric Bischoff in WCW in 1995. Basically, doesn't have a lot of good things to say about Bischoff, as you can see here with the middle finger. And also, Kamala talks about trying to make things work while in WCW with his connection, because Hulk Hogan initially called him to come down and work for Eric Bischoff in WCW. Didn't work out. He also talks about the atrocious payout for Bash of the Beach 95. Kamala mistakenly talks about how it was a match against Hulk Hogan. Actually, it was a match against Jim Duggan. And Kamala talks about the ridiculous payout of a measly $800 for a pay-per-view, and what a piece of garbage Eric Bischoff is. And also going back to the WWF for WrestleMania 17 with the gimmick Battle Royal. At this point, Kamala had enough with pro wrestling, being paid extremely poorly and also disrespected by the wrestling promoters. Let's get to the interview.
But in 1995, Hogan called me and asked me about coming into WCW. And I told him, yeah. So he said, we'll try to get your contract. So I went to he said, you need to talk with Kevin Sullivan. And I did, and Kevin told me that they were going to see how they liked me, and then they would give me a contract. And I went down there and I stayed for 3 months. Eric Bischoff, he got until this day to speak to me. Yeah, so, and the way he treated me when I was down there, so I would say this to Eric Bischoff.
A lot of people say that about Eric. I was going to ask you your thoughts on Eric Bischoff.
Yeah, I don't like that man. I don't know nothing about him, but I know he never would speak to me. And I remember once I told Hogan, I said, Hogan, I ain't making no money. And Hogan called him up. And so Eric Bischoff called me and he said, look, don't be calling Hogan. Always call me and talk to me.
Huh.
You know, if you have a problem with your money. I did, but he never did answer after that.
Huh.
Yeah, and he still wouldn't even speak. Yeah, so anyway, the last time that I worked with Hogan was in 1995 at the Bash of the Beach. And that was a pay-per-view. And I paid $800 for a pay-per-view. That's what they paid me.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
I know it. I went to Hogan and I was almost crying. I told Hogan, look, I said, I'm going back and drive my truck. I don't never want to see wrestling no more. Well, he said, wait a minute, brother. You want me to talk to him again? I said, if I can't talk to him myself, then I don't even need to be here.
Right. Wow.
And I left.
So Hogan really he stuck up for you when you first got there, and when you were there.
Yeah, he tried to. Huh. Yeah, he tried to.
How would you compare Vince to Bischoff if you were to compare the two?
I would rather work for Vince and around Vince than to work for Eric any day.
Now, they actually paired you and Kevin Sullivan, and they had the whole little oddity gimmick down there in WCW with, I think King Curtis was part of it too.
King Curtis.
Yeah.
David Sullivan, Evad.
Yeah.
What are your memories of that whole thing?
It would have been good if they had to work the program where, where we all could make some money, or where I could make some money. But I don't even know the meaning of it. I don't know what was the meaning of it.
You worked down there without a contract. Were you hoping that Vince would maybe call you back and take you back?
Yeah, but I didn't think he would. I didn't think he would.
Right. Also, you actually were brought back at WrestleMania 17, and you finally got to work the gimmick Battle Royal. How did that come about?
I was on the road driving truck, and when I came in, I had a message for me to call the WWE, and when I called them, that's what they wanted me to ask me about being on the, was it Wrestle 17?
Yeah.
And that was the first WrestleMania that I had really worked on.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And during that time, that was the gimmick Battle Royal. During that time, when they called me, and I told them to give me a few days to think about it, and that was the first time I had worked in 7 years. And I went, so I told them that I would do it. But when I got there, I wasn't satisfied, wasn't happy at all. So I did the gimmick Battle Royal, and I wanted to leave there right then. Timing was over, but I couldn't catch a flight till early the next morning. I wanted to get away from there.
Huh. What city was that?
In Houston.
Oh, that was the Houston one.
Texas, yeah.
How were the boys to you, like when they seen you again?
They were real nice. They were real nice to me. And Steve came to me and told me, he said, Jamie, you can sit any way you want to. Sit any way you want to.
Steve Austin?
No, Steve Lombardi.
Oh, okay.
That was my kimchi.
Right.
So he said, you can sit any way you want to. So it ain't like it used to be.